All right, music fans, welcome. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time. Back in my lane again and doing it for a few people out there, just like you and just like me. So, yes, talking music in this particular episode. I know there are people out there who get a little bit worried when I'm going outside my lane. Anyway, before I talk about this new Deep Purple song, which is really good. And I'm going to, again, give the band a shout out, a plug here, and just my thoughts on the song and Deep Purple in general. Here is Pinnacle Point. I wanted to feature this because, hey, Deep Purple fans, you might like Pinnacle Point. Symphony of Mind is the name of this album. This is the second Pinnacle Point album. I know they're working on another album. So if you're a fan of Double P. I don't know if that doesn't sound really good. Pinnacle Point. Just say the whole thing, Dave. Jerome Mazza, one of the great melodic rock singers out there, and guitarist Torben Enevoldsen, who is just like Joe Satriani, but with some bluesy tendencies and really plays just these clean, crisp, fast riffs. He's a very unique player. But anyway, Pinnacle Point, fantastic album. Go check it out. If you're a DP fan, you'll like the double P. All right. All right. So let's talk DP. Brand new album coming out soon. The album is called Equals One. All right. Equals One. Deep Purple. It's their first album since, I think, 2020. So you've waited about 4 years for a new Deep Purple album. I know they put out an album of not original material, a bunch of cover tunes, either last year or the year before. And that album was pretty good, but I'm looking forward to the original material. Portable Door is the new song. There's a video, and the band is performing in front of the backdrop of what would be the album's artwork. So that's kind of cool. Simon McBride, who has stepped in and seems to have given the band new life, which didn't have that on my bingo card. I just thought, okay, it was a sad situation to lose such a great guitarist. And then Simon McBride comes in and does a spectacular job, both on the road and on this new track. You're going to hear it. Everybody thought Steve Morse was, a great player. Nobody ever said Steve Morse is a lousy guitarist, but based on what I've heard thus far, it seems as though there's a little bit more band chemistry going on here. Steve Morse, who left obviously on good terms, had to go take care of his wife. And then unfortunately, his wife passes away, but he did the right thing, leaving Deep Purple to go care for her. And now the band seems to be hitting on all cylinders again. And maybe there's some new life here that didn't exist when Steve Morse was in the band. Steve, of course, a very different sounding guitar player than Ritchie Blackmore. And I think Simon McBride tends to be a little bit more like Ritchie. And I think that's why this is working. But anyway, Simon McBride, kind of a spokesperson for the band here, says the new album will reflect the five of us in a rehearsal room. Many of the songs, like Portable Door, were written in the first sessions and literally came together in 5 or 10 minutes. And this happened right after Simon joined the band in 2022. He said here it was all so easy and natural. Ian Gillan added, throughout Deep Purple's history, our best songs have always been those that were written in no time at all. We've played what felt good and developed songs as we have always done. And so Portable Doors is out there, and you can obviously stream it, download it, do whatever you need to do. And the album is available for pre-order. It won't be released until July 19th. But I'll tell you what, Ian Gillan, much like what Brian Johnson has done in AC/DC, he has managed to sing somewhat like he's always sung, at least maybe the last 30 or 40 years. You go back to the 70s, and yeah, he kind of sounds like a different dude. But it's remarkable how durable his voice has been all this time. And if you go back, say, 30 years, it's still going to sound pretty similar to the way he sounds now. And another little footnote here, which is frustrating, is Deep Purple. They finally did get into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame way too after the fact, but they're in. So, okay. And they're still out there doing stuff. Deep Purple doesn't get the time of day here in the United States on the radio, on terrestrial radio. They haven't been played probably since Slaves and Masters came out. I can't think of any other song after the stuff that was on that album. I can't think of any other music that Deep Purple had on a rock station. And if it did get on a rock station, it was probably for a day. It didn't do any permanent damage when it comes to chart movement or chart history, which I think is just tragic because this is one of the great bands of all time, right? The Who, they're not coming back. According to Pete Townsend, they're done. Roger Daltrey is like, yeah, we're done. So you've got Deep Purple out doing what they do, still sounding great, still putting out relevant music, which again, even if you're not a fan, I think you can check this out and at least appreciate where it's coming from. So again, I think the big story is Simon McBride, who I wasn't aware of until he joined Deep Purple, and the guy is good. This song features an amazing keyboard solo too by the great Don Airey, the only guy in the world who could have replaced the late great John Lord on keyboards. Just fantastic work. And the guitar playing is great. The singing is great. Of course, the bass playing is always great. So, and the drums. Ian Pace still back there on drums. Amazing. He's, I think, the only original guy from the very beginning. So Deep Purple still going strong after how many years? I don't even want to count. But I became a fan after Perfect Strangers came out. And then, of course, I went back and realized all of that great music was theirs from the 1970s. I should have known, but I didn't. And yeah, a big fan of this band. So check it out. Before I go, check this out too. Pinnacle Point, Symphony of Mind, courtesy of our friends over at Escape Music. They put out a lot of great stuff on that label. And so you should check out their catalog of music. Melodic rock, it's hanging by a thread, but it's still out there. Nobody's making money putting out new melodic rock albums, which is really tragic. I'm not even sure Deep Purple will make any money from this new album, but they do very good outside the United States. I think the last album, at least the last studio album of originals, I think they sold over 1 million copies of that, which for old geezers still doing rock and roll, that's kind of unheard of. So that's how big they are. And I'm really happy that they have new stuff coming out. All right, I'm Dave. Thanks for watching. God bless everyone. Please pray for peace in the Middle East and around the world and in your own heart. And I will see you soon.